Policy by Addie Migden. Fiscal policy is one of two ways to influence the economy. Through changes in government spending and taxation, Congress can manipulate the status of the United States economy. Depending on each of the three key economic situations, which will be explained later, price level and unemployment are the two factors most affected. There are two policies that Congress uses to fix economy. Expansionary policy is used to increase aggregate demand. In expansionary policy, Congress can increase government spending, decrease taxation on the nation, or both. The other policy is contractionary policy. Contractionary policy is used to decrease aggregate demand. In this policy, Congress can increase taxation on the nation, decrease government spending, or both. There are three key economic situations: recession, inflation, and stagflation. A recession is a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced. As shown in this graph, aggregate demand is low due to a decrease in spending by consumers, businesses, and the government, and/or an increase in taxes by Congress. In order to come out of a recession, Congress must implement an expansionary policy. They can either increase government spending or decrease taxes, creating a shift to the right of AD. In return, fixing recession creates higher price level and lower unemployment rate. Inflation is a sustained increase in the general price level of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. Aggregate demand is high due to an increase in spending by consumers, businesses, and the government, and/or a decrease in taxes by Congress. In order to come out of inflation, Congress must implement a contractionary policy. They can either decrease government spending, increase taxes, or both, creating a shift to the left of AD. In return, fixing recession creates a lower price level so consumers can afford goods and a higher unemployment rate due to the cut of many jobs. Stagflation is where the inflation rate is high, the economic growth rate slows down, and unemployment remains steadily high. Society faces a short-run trade-off between inflation and unemployment. In the case of stagflation, in order for one of these factors to improve, the other suffers. Therefore, there are two ways to fix it. Shifting the short-run aggregate supply curve to the left favors high prices with the trade-off of low unemployment, while shifting the short-run aggregate supply curve to the right favors low unemployment with the trade-off of high prices. Real-world application of recession. In 2008, the United States suffered one of the greatest recessions. Thousands were unemployed, and the housing market had basically collapsed. To get to the U.S. out of recession, many companies were bailed out, and stability slowly restored itself. Another example is the current situation in Europe. Due to the prices of oil per barrel decreasing, the European Union has suffered. The plan to fix this is to try to put more money into the system, a fix through monetary policy. Real-world application of inflation. During World War II, the German government rapidly increased the amount of money in their system. Because money was so abundant, the price level also increased. At the peak of this inflation, a loaf of bread was worth billions of German francs. Another example are the inflation rates in developing countries. Countries such as India, Brazil, and Thailand have a 10 to 25% higher inflation rate than highly developed countries such as the United States, England, and Australia. This can be due to many factors such as political instability and poor government regulation. Real-world applications of stagflation. In the 1970s, consumers were increasing their demand, creating an increase in price level. Concurrently, workers were demanding higher wages, and when it was granted, many companies became bankrupt, leaving the unemployment rate to skyrocket. During the same period, Europe was suffering from stagflation. In the 70s, unemployment hit a record-breaking 83% during the decade. Inflation was also rapidly increasing. By the end of the decade, it rose by 200%, leaving the Europeans with a lot of money with the capability of buying very few things.
Created using Powtoon.